Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and I'm still adjusting to losing an hour of sleep, hence the bags under my eyes. So I have a project I'm working on, and I'm coming to you live because I kind of need some outside input on it, and I thought, what a better way to like figure out answers to stuff and poll people than to just do a live video and ask people. So if you jump on and you're on, if you'll just comment so that I know I'm talking to somebody and not myself. And if you're willing to give me some feedback in this area, maybe just post your feedback in the comments. So here's the thing. I'm copying to it. Hey, Autumn! I am a Judgy-McJudgy Pants, which that's not my phrase. I heard it this weekend and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that. And if anybody is like super judgmental, no, you should not tag people. If you think that they're judgmental, you shouldn't tag people and Adam. This is just if you think that you are judgmental. And, hey, good morning. Autumn, did you is the lost hour killing anybody else? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's tough for me today. So, if you are judgmental, and what I mean by that is if you maybe have a tendency and you don't have to comment if this is you. If you have a tendency to maybe see somebody on the street and cast judgment on them for something, like I don't like their outfit, or that's stupid, or if you don't like their haircut, you don't like how they're dressed, you don't like what they're doing, if that's you, so just sit with that for a minute. But then I want to ask if you kind of relate to being judgmental at all. I am totally a Judgy-McJudgy Pants. And it's something that I have to really work on. If my daughter, Maddie kind of she marches to the beat of her own drum. And so if she comes out wearing something that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't be caught dead in that. That is my first thought sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did she put on this morning? And so I noticed that judgment for me, sometimes it's little things like that. And I'm really having to work on not saying anything to her because that's just her style. And I've got to kind of let her be her own little person and figure out what works for her. And if she thinks that she can rock workout pants with cowboy boots and a leprechaun headband, which she's been wearing for 2 weeks straight. And I'm kind of sad that I bought the little leprechaun headband for her. And she's just been wearing it nonstop. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, Maddie, it doesn't match anything. It's green. And then she's got bright pink pants on. I'm just like, whose child is she? So if you're judgmental, here's what I want to ask. How does it show up? Do you tend to notice, and do you even notice it? Maybe some people aren't very judgmental. Maybe they're not as judgmental as I am. I've never really thought about it until I sat down and I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder how this really shows up for me. How am I judgmental? How many times a day am I judgmental? And the more I'm aware of it, it's funny that I find that I'm pretty judgmental now that I've decided to be intentional about being aware of how judgy I am. But I think the funniest thing for me that I found is I know I'm judgmental when it comes to other things, like what my daughter marches out, wearing in the morning, or what some people say. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. Or being on social media, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was your comment. And so then I'm like, oh wait, I'm being judgmental too. So this is my question. How does it show up for you? Do you notice that you are more judgmental of other people? This is for a project I'm working on. And I want to know, do you think you're more judgmental of other people, or are you more judgmental of yourself? which is an interesting thing to look at. I've noticed that I always thought that I was more judgmental of other people until I started taking notice of when I was judgmental for things I was doing. Like I'll do something and be like, oh my gosh, that was so stupid. Why did I do that? Or why did I say that? Why didn't I say something? And I find that it's very interesting to see what things I'm judgmental about. So in the comments, if you are judgmental, just go ahead and type, yep, I'm a judgy, I can relate. I'm a Judgy-McJudgy Pants, which I think is hysterical. I think judgmental of certain people, the words they say. So here's the thing. So then do you notice if you are judgmental about the things you say? Or, and this is what I found. So this is like this thing I'm working on, and I was really nervous to do a Facebook Live video about it. Because I'm just like, well, I don't know how many people really relate to that. I don't know if people really think about that. But then I got into this whole judgmental thing where I'm like, okay, well, I don't really want to like cop to being judgmental, because I was really worried about how people were going to judge me and how I was going to be perceived. But it's interesting to think of like, oh, wait, that's like this is how I'm judging myself, and this is how I'm perceiving myself to be, when in fact, it's okay to like just totally ask people, like, how does this show up for you? Do you find that it works for you? Some people, it might really like totally work for them. It might be like, this is what I'm judgmental, and all of those comments that I say to myself push me to hit goals, or they push me to be a better person, or they push me to do things that I normally wouldn't do. So sometimes, you know, maybe people feel justified in being judgmental. I don't think Autumn, seriously, it's really eye-opening to sit back and think, or to just one day for an experiment, just notice how many times there's some judgment that comes up. And for me, I've noticed the funniest thing is like there's a judgment, and then there's, you know, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm judging myself for judging myself. So it's really kind of interesting to look at. But yeah, I'm just curious, like, how does it show up for people? How are you a Judgy-McJudgy Pants? If you are you judgmental? And this is the thing, like, I find that I'm more judgmental of my kids. And they're little. They're 11 and soon to be 8. So I'm just like, does it get worse as kids get older? Like, moms with teens, you have to tell me, like, do you get more judgmental as your kids get older? Does it work for you? How do you relate to people when you're judgmental? Do you find that if you walk into a room of people you don't know and you're in this judgmental frame of mind, does it help you to connect to people? Do you care about, you know, relating to people in a different way? Or do you kind of just sit in your judgment of them and kind of think, well, it's not really worth my time to like get to know them or say hi or anything. I'm a Judgy-McJudgy. So am I, Anne. I am too. And Margaret, yeah. And I don't mean to be, but then I find that because I'm judging others, I'm really more aware of when I judge myself. And it's funny, like this morning, I was just talking about when Maddie gets dressed and she wears these crazy outfits. And then in the morning, if I don't have anything to do, like today, I'm in yoga pants and just a sweatshirt. But I'm really judgy of what I wear when I go outside. Like, I hate going to the grocery store in sweatpants. And I don't think anybody cares. But for some reason, that's like a big thing for me. But I notice that I'm really judgmental about like what the kids wear to school. I overthink people are judging me. I judge my McJudgy Pants. I judge my McJudgy Pants too, Jean. That's hysterical. I don't want to be, but it's human nature. And right, I think for me it shows up hardest in judging, overanalyzing everything, every little thing that I do. And so this is my question. So I have some coach friends that are on right now. And so this is my thing, coach friends. Do you think that it's because you've been conditioned around what's good and what's bad that you're judgmental? I find this to be a fascinating, I'm just like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like from birth to, all through our life, we're kind of conditioned on what's good and what's bad. And then does that kind of shape our judgment a little bit? I don't want to be, but it's human nature. So, Anne, does it work for you? And Margaret, like, you have to say, like, I know I'm totally calling you out. Does it work for you, though? Because sometimes I'm like, oh, well, maybe my judgment of, like not going to the grocery store looking, like I literally just rolled out of bed. Maybe that's helpful. Or does it really matter? Am I putting, like, so much energy? How much energy do we put into being Judgy-McJudgy Pants? I think it's interesting. For me, I've noticed that when I'm super judgmental and I walk into a room of people I don't know, or a situation where I feel intimidated a little bit. Like, I've been to corporate events and I've walked into a room and I'm really nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I'm totally judgmental about, like, am I going to stack up against these people? Do I have anything intelligent to say? Do people even care what I say? I'm not as smart as that guy. And it's just like this judgment that like just kind of automatically pops up for me. But I'm curious, the part that I'm curious about, wait here, I think we are conditioned until we realize that we can take responsibility for our lives and we can become the people we want to be. That is so true. But I think a bigger part of it, is it just that we're going to take responsibility, or that we become okay with who we are? So, like, the more you become okay with really who you are you less judgmental? Does anybody find that to be true? I just think that that's an interesting thing, because you can look at it two ways. Like, you can be responsible for your life, and then you can always, like, choreograph your life to be, what you perceive as to be, responsible and perfect. Or is it just okay to be like, this is just who I am, and I'm okay with it? I would totally agree with the conditioning for me personally. Amen, Andrea. This idea showed up for me and did this, but I could do better, or it's not good enough. I judge people's attitudes, and then I relate to the people I judge the hardest. Weird. That is weird. Yes. Like, sometimes, like, here's the thing, like, going to the grocery store in my sweatpants, it could be, I guess people could look at it one of two ways. Like, wow, she really is very confident in wearing whatever. Or is it really like, oh, well, maybe she's dealing with other stuff at home. Maybe she had a tough day at home today. Or maybe, something, maybe she doesn't feel good. So I wonder, like, are we harder on people? Is this judgment like more of, because it's also judgmental to, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it judgmental to just maybe look at people and their circumstances and their attitudes and be like, oh, well, maybe they're dealing with something I'm not aware of, or something difficult, or... So I wonder if that's, or is it just like this harsh criticism of like, why would they wear that? Why would they say that? Why are they acting that way? Do they think they're better than everybody else? Because I too, and Margaret, I'm kind of like, I'm like with people's attitudes, I feel like there's a vibe that I'm like, oh, well, they must not like me. They must not, if there's like a weird vibe, I'm like, oh, well, they must not like me. There's something, they're judging me or I'm judging them. We're hard on people and ourselves. Yeah. So here's my thing with this thing that I'm working on. So why? We judge to make ourselves feel better. But then do we also sometimes judge to make ourselves feel worse? And I'm totally going to be honest. Like, sometimes if I see somebody, if I'm out and I feel like that day, I'm like, okay, I feel fat. I feel ugly. I feel schleppy. And I see somebody that I'm like, oh my gosh, their outfit's perfect. They're thin. They're beautiful. Their hair looks perfect. And then sometimes I feel bad about myself because I'm like, oh my gosh, like why can't I be better? Do you judge someone in sweatpants at the store? LOL, I don't notice unless they're in their SpongeBob pajama pants. Funny story, we went to lunch yesterday. This is awful. I'm gonna be honest though. We went to lunch yesterday at Sparky's. It's like a restaurant here that it's a sit down place. It's not a fast food place. Like you go in and sit down. And there were these people that came in, and I was totally judgmental of them. And they were all in their pajamas. And I realized that there was a time change yesterday. But this was like almost noon. So it would have been 1 o'clock. Is that right? I'm confused by the time change. Anyway, it was almost noon yesterday, and this family comes in pajamas. And I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh my gosh. Why would they? I get going to the store in your pajamas. But then I was in total judgment. I'm like, why in the world would you come and have a sit down meal, like lunch, in your pajamas at a sit-down restaurant? And I almost, like, in my mind, this is horrible that I'm admitting this. I almost was like, I can totally get it if it's like a fast food place, because maybe they're traveling. But then, right, with your pajamas and completely like not a care in the world. Like they were just cool. They were there together as a family. They were all in their pajamas. And it was obvious pajamas. It wasn't like sweatpants. Like maybe it's like a borderline, like yoga pants, right? Sometimes yoga pants, you can totally use them as jammies, and then you can like go out and about in them and nobody knows. So yeah, I was totally judgmental of this family that's sitting there they're all in their pajamas. But they were enjoying their lunch. And then I'm like, why in the world am I being so judgmental of this nice family? They're out together. They're enjoying time together. They were obviously having a wonderful lunch. Like they were giggling and laughing and, but I found that interesting. I'm like, ooh, like, what is my judgment? Like, do I have enough self-confidence to walk into a sit-down place in my pajamas? No, like I don't. And I think that it comes back to like this whole conditioning thing. Cause I'm like, oh, well, I have been brought up to believe that you go into like a sit down restaurant and you wear clothes, not your pajamas. But the thing is they were totally like, they were having such a wonderful lunch. And I'm like, who am I to judge them? Maybe they are traveling. Maybe they're just like, hey, this is what we do. We have like a low threshold of, we're just going to accept you as you are. And I feel like we should challenge ourselves to go out and, no, I couldn't do it. Andre, I could not do it. But I might have to now. I read a nice book, eat a nice lunch. Exactly. But here's the thing. I also have judgment. I find myself, I won't go into a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, by myself and just have a meal, or even like a coffee house. And I don't like, because I just have this total judgment around it. Like, is she like, does she not have any friends? Could she not find somebody to come to lunch with her? Is she really that lonely and pathetic? But that's my judgment about it. But then I noticed like, and I've been more aware of it now that I'm like, oh, I would never in a million years, like that makes me uncomfortable to do that. Go into like a sit down place and have lunch by myself. Because I would feel like everybody in the restaurant is staring at me. Would anybody else do that? Does anybody else have the cojones to just go into a restaurant by yourself and what are we talking about? So we're talking about judgment and how I'm a Judgy-McJudgy Pants, and I'm curious about how other people are too. And I have judgment around funny things, and I find that my judgment, now that I'm more aware of it, I'm actually more judgmental of myself than I am of other people. And I was just saying, like, there was this weekend I seen a family come in to a sit down into Sparky's, Shanna, and they had their jammies on, and I was totally judgmental of them. And then I thought, wait, who am I to be judgmental? They're having a wonderful lunch together and they're comfortable. Good for them. But I would never go into a restaurant by myself and like have have lunch or dinner, right? I'm not alone. Thank you. I'm not alone. So would anybody, you have to cop to, if you would like totally have enough confidence to go into a sit down restaurant on a Wednesday and just have lunch just by yourself and not give a flying rip who else is there or who's watching you or what people are thinking about you. I love to go out alone, but it took me a while to be comfortable with it. I find putting myself in that place actually makes me feel some kind of confidence that I don't typically have. I like that. Dara, we are totally going to do March spring break, but I am not coming to Arizona and just sitting in a restaurant in my pajamas. I've dined by myself before just to escape, but not my favorite either. Haley, you like to go out by yourself? Seriously? I love it. I wish I was like that. Like, part of me wishes I had that confidence. And I was just like, I don't give a rip what anybody thinks. I am just going to enjoy lunch by myself. Although I will say this, one time recently, a couple weeks ago, I had to go to Idaho Falls and pick some stuff up. And Cafe Rio is my favorite. But I didn't want it. They have a drive-thru in the Cafe Rio. And we don't have one in my teeny tiny town. So I didn't want to go through the drive-thru because I wanted the whole experience of going in and they make the tortillas in front of you and then they put all the stuff. It's this experience for me. So I did go in and I had lunch by myself. But I totally, like, the whole time I'm just like, because there was nice families in there. There was some couples. There were some friends. Like, it wasn't super busy, but there was, like, people in there. And so the whole time I'm like, I ate super fast. And then I hurried and left because I just felt so weird and awkward. I was single for so long that I had to learn how to do things. And I love that. And I honestly wish, Shanna, that I was more like that. That I just like would force myself to do it. So Andrea, you said that you kind of got to a point where you got comfortable with it. How? And were you aware of the judgment, or are you still aware of the judgment and it just doesn't bother you? Hey, Lori, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. So I have to know, if you would go to a restaurant by yourself and sit down and have lunch, would you be judgmental? Like, in your mind, like, would the script in your mind be like, oh my God, people are staring at me. I need to eat quick. People think I'm like this, person that can't, have friends and I have nobody and I have to eat alone. Or if you were in a restaurant and see somebody eating alone, and it's not like a situation where there's a bar, like a sports bar, that like I almost get. Like, you can go sit at the bar and watch a game. And for me, like, I don't have judgment around that. But if you're just like in a restaurant having a meal by yourself, I am aware of those people. And I feel awful about it. I'm not mean, I promise. But I'm more aware of those people because it's something that I wouldn't do, that I'm very self-conscious about. I just kept putting myself out there. I actually try to bring a hobby. I like that. I would rather, or where I don't know any. Yeah, okay, so that's my thing too. Like, if I'm going to do it, when I was in Cafe Rio, I was super aware of other people around and I'm sitting there eating by myself. But it was almost okay because, like, it was almost more bearable because I didn't know anybody. But here's the thing, to like go down to a coffee shop here in town and just like have lunch by myself. Ooh, I don't know if I could do it. And maybe that's like a good challenge for me. Maybe like to step out of my comfort zone is to go and have lunch by myself. Sorry, hold on. There we go. So what other things, like, what about like going to the grocery store in your sweatpants? Does anybody do this, or does everybody like at least dress up to where it's like acceptable? I would be very acceptable to like go to the grocery store in your sweatpants. And I'm from a small town, and here's the thing, never fails. The times that I look like so disheveled and awful. And I go into the grocery store, never fails. I run into somebody I know. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I couldn't put on normal pants. I couldn't even do yoga pants. I think I only done in my sweatpants. Andrea, I'm going to come hang out with you. Because that would be the best way to shop is in your sweatpants. I love my sweatpants and yoga pants. But now, like I said, like yoga pants, it seems like that's acceptable to a point. Because nobody knows, like, well, you slept in them. I mean, you're kind of trying with yoga pants. Sometimes people think you just came from yoga. So it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like it's okay. All right, so I have to know, I've got a pair of sweatpants and big open arms. I love it. I love it. We're going to do it someday, Andrea. We're going to show up and we're going to go shopping in our sweatpants. And then we're going to go to lunch and you're going to sit at a table and I'm going to sit across the restaurant at a table. And then we're just going to sit there in judgment of each other because we're eating alone. Okay, so you have to tell me. So I have to see a poll, and maybe I'll have to put a poll up. But are you more judgmental of yourself? This is for my project. Are you more judgmental of yourself or are you more judgmental of other people? I don't usually judge when I see someone eating alone, but I feel awkward when I'm alone too. See, that's interesting. And why do we feel awkward? Like, is it just because we're alone, like with our thoughts, there's no distractions or anything like that? Is that kind of what it is? Like for me, I think if I was to go into a coffee shop, I would feel like I have to bring something to work on. I have to bring like a book, or I'd have to bring, you know, like my laptop, something to work on to justify like being there. I don't know. It's just like, I have this weird judgment around it, and I find it kind of fascinating to kind of look at this judgment and be curious about it. I'm totally judgy of myself more than others in those situations. Yeah, see, that's how I am. Like, I will notice people that are eating alone. I don't even notice people that are in the store in their sweatpants. I'm just like so engulfed with like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna run into somebody I know. And it's like, I speed shop. So if I see you in Safeway and I'm like blasting by you and I'm like, hi, but I don't really stop to visit, it's probably because I'm super judgmental about me being there with what I'm wearing, or the fact I haven't showered or done my hair or put my makeup on. Definitely myself, I can make excuses for other people and why they're doing something to make it okay. But for me, I can't. No, I'm the same way, Haley. I totally get that. Like if I'm more like, I hold myself to like this weird standard. Like I have such these like weird high standards, but I seem to grant other people grace. Like if they're, you know, in whatever situation, you know, like, and I know that we can all relate to this one, whether you're a parent or not. You've been in the grocery store and there's a parent there shopping. It's usually a mom, and her kid is having a meltdown. And this is no joke. Before I had kids and I would be in the grocery store and that would happen, I would be like, oh my gosh, control your kid. Like seriously, control your kid. And now as a mom, like when it happened to me the first time, I thought I just wanted to like go into the, like go hide in some corner. And it never feels like you can feel people when I can still remember, because my girls are older, but I can remember when I would be in the store and my kids would lose it. I could feel myself. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can feel people looking at me and I can feel the judgment. So that was like super tough for me when my kids were little. And even now, like every now and then, my kids are 11 and almost 8. Every now and then they will lose it in the store over something, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, stop it. But then now as a parent, now that I've lived through it, if I see another like mom come in with kids and their kids like lose it in the grocery store, I feel so bad for them, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I remember what that felt like. I remember to feel like everybody was like staring at you and there's judgment and you're feeling like you have no control over the situation. And so now it's funny how that judgment for me has like shifted to where instead of feeling like, oh my God, control your kid, I'm just like, I feel such empathy and compassion for them because I'm like, I know what that feels like. And part of me just wants to be like, part of me wants to go up to him and be like, it's just like every single child on the planet does this. And I totally get it. And I just, right now, I completely understand your experience and I'm just loving you. and I hope that you know there is no judgment coming from me. Like part of me wants to go up and say that because I feel like, that's such an awkward, it was such an awkward experience for me. And I felt judged. And so it's funny how sometimes those judgments shift. So if you're not a parent and you've ever been in the grocery store and somebody's kid is losing it, please don't be judgmental. We're doing the best we can. And you can't control tiny humans. They have a mind of their own. So I have to know. So you have to let me know, are you more judgmental of yourself or other people? And it could be like in little small ways, like, oh, I should keep the house cleaner. Oh, I should always, my kids should always behave. I should be a better parent. It's funny to look, it's funny and interesting to like look at how that judgment shows up and really like how aware we are of it. Keep those covers. Oh, Andrea, thanks for joining us. Tag me in these in the future. Yeah, if you want in these in the future, I will totally tag you. And also, like, I think there might be a subscribe button somewhere on your phone. Click that bad boy and it'll let you know when I'm live. So yeah, so if you guys, I have to buzz off. I have an appointment, but totally guilty of slumming and coming to town. What are you wearing? I know. Luckily for me, like John has never been like, oh my God, stay in the car. But there's been times like we'll run to the grocery store and I'm like, John, you go in. I wouldn't be caught dead looking like this. And he's just like, oh my goodness. He just doesn't care. And so it's nice that I have that in a husband that he's just like, I don't care. Whatever. So you have to tell me, comment later. Let me know. I'm working on this project and I really want to know, like, are people more judgmental of others? Are they judgmental of themselves? How does it work for them? Does it work for you? Is it something that you're like, ooh, I don't really like that about myself? That's what I'm discovering is I'm like, I really don't like that I'm so judgmental of me or of other people. All right, so have an awesome Monday. Thank you so much for the comments and the feedback. I really super appreciate it. And we'll see what I come up with from all of the Facebook Live input that I'm getting. So I want you guys to have an awesome day. And just know I'm going to volunteer at my kids' library in yoga pants today. And that's how I roll today. It's a Monday. That's how I roll. All right, so we will talk to you guys later. Have an awesome day. Bye.